right, go ahead and start recording. All right. So good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Today we're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about the reasons why people communicate, different types of communication styles, and then we're going to do some work on our own, as well as in our groups, to strengthen our own personal communication. Okay? Now, we've talked about previously that there are three main reasons why people communicate. And we said that those three main reasons can be summed up with one word. And what is that word? Yes, ma'am.
Pie.
Pie. Spell pie.
P-I-E.
And the P stands for?
Persuade.
Persuade. The I stands for?
Informative.
And the E stands for?
Entertain.
Entertain. When I want to persuade someone, what is it that I want to do? Yes, ma'am.
You want to get them to do something or buy something.
Okay. Are there any other reasons why I persuade? Yes, sir.
Or convince them.
To convince them. I like that word. To convince them. And if I want to convince someone to do something, what is it that I should do first? Yes, sir. Have a lead. Remember we talked about a lead. What is a lead?
The beginning of your statement. The introduction.
It is your introductory statement. We also call it a what?
Intro?
Yes, ma'am.
A thesis?
A thesis statement. That is correct.
Hook?
Your hook. Your lead is your hook. Your hook is that thing that you want to use as your thesis. The thing that you want the people to hang on, to hinge on. And so whenever you're trying to convince someone of something, you're going to have that hook. You're also going to have what? If I want to convince you that apples are better than oranges, then what should my opinion about apples and oranges be? Yes, ma'am. That apples are better. You know, my thesis statement should be something that I believe in. If I don't believe in it, then it's hard for me to sell it. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So we have persuade. What about to inform? What are some of the things that I do to inform individuals? Yes, sir.
To tell them about something.
Exactly. I want to give them information. There's information that I have that I want to transfer to someone else. Remember we talked about in computers. We said computers do what? They store and they do what to information?
Transport.
Transmit. That is correct. So we store and we transmit information. If I'm being informative, I have the information, I own the information, and what is it that I want to do with the information? Transmit it. I want to share it to someone else. So persuade is when I have an opinion. Informative is when I want to transmit information. And the last key is what?
Entertain.
Entertain. When I want to entertain someone, what is it that I want to do? Yes, sir.
Satisfy?
I want to satisfy that sense of need, that sense to feel time. So I want to give them something that they want to hear, whether it's a joke or a story or what have you. Is it possible when I'm communicating to include all three elements in one single communication?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Is it, how do I want to ask this question? Do you like talking to people when they only want to persuade you?
No.
When they only want to inform you?
No.
No, because you don't like the lectures when all we do is just give you information.
No.
Nope. All right, what about entertain?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. But if you have all three elements in one communication, would that communication be something that you would remember?
Yes.
Yes. That's what great communicators do. They have the ability to include all three elements when they communicate. When we decide that we would like to communicate effectively, we want to include all three elements. There are two main ways that we communicate. What are those two main ways that we communicate? Yes, ma'am.
Like talking or through your phone.
Okay, verbally and
Non-verbally.
nonverbal. When I say nonverbal, what is the main way of communicating in a nonverbal way? Yes, ma'am.
Texting.
Text. Well, maybe for your age, yes. But for the in
Oh,
general, what is the
Email.
main way? Yes, sir.
Cyber.
That would be the same thing as texting.
Email.
I'm looking for a different word. I'm looking for a different word. Yes.
Mail.
If I say verbal or
Sign language.
written, exactly. Verbal or written. Texting is a form of writing. Emailing is a form of writing. Pen and paper, form of writing. So written or verbal are those two main ways. Now, when I decide to communicate, whether it's written or verbal, I want to somehow include the elements of communication in order to make the communication effective. That is what great communicators do. Who can name someone who is considered to be a great communicator? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Dr. Martin Luther King. He is considered to be a great communicator. And in this month, we are celebrating his birthday. What's another great communicator? Yes, sir. Theodore Roosevelt was considered to be a great communicator. Who can give me another? Yes. Maya Angelou. Great communicator, great poet. Any others? Any others? Yes, sir. Shakespeare. Shakespeare. Gandhi. We had a president who had the name who they called the Great Communicator. His name was Ronald Reagan. Remember Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
He was able to communicate effectively because he had been trained on how to communicate. He was an actor before he became a politician. Yes. Malcolm X, a great communicator. So today what we want to do, I've placed before you a brief history of Dr. Martin Luther King. With your table mates, I would like for you to read the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, and then I would like for you to take your paper that I've given you, and we're going to create a foldable. Can anyone remember the foldable that we created when we created the display foldable? When we folded in threes? All right, that's the foldable I want you to create. You take the paper from the right side, go in 1/3, then the left side, go in 1/3, create a slight overlap, and you're going to create your presentation similar to your science fair or your history fair presentation board. On the left-hand side, I would like for you to put your name, this class, and the date. On the other side, put communication skills, written and verbal. Communication skills, written and verbal. On the right.
What all goes on the right?
Your name, this class, and the date.
Today the 15th.
Yes, sir. Communication skills, written and verbal. When you open up your foldable, on the right-hand side, I want you to take notes from your personal reading. When you guys read this together, take your notes on the right-hand side. When you begin to talk to your classmates, I want you to take notes on the left-hand side. We're going to keep the center open for now. So nothing in the center, just right and left, okay? All right, let's take about 5 minutes and let us begin to work with our groups. Let us keep the noise level at level 1 and only speak to those classmates who are at your table. Yes. pretend like the time has expired? All right. So no, we're gonna pretend like we have something inside our folder.
We don't actually
All right.
take notes.
Hmm?
We don't actually take notes.
No,
Do we get
you don't have to. You don't have to. All right.
Do we get to
Ready?
share? Do we share our
5,
notes?
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, outstanding. So you've had an opportunity to talk to your group, had an opportunity to take notes. Now, how many of us had certain ideas that changed once we began to speak to our group members? Raise your hand. Some of us had some ideas that changed. What I want us to do now, in the center of our foldable, at the top, I want you to write in the center of the top the word communicate. 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 I want you to draw a circle around the word. And we're going to create a word web. We're going to create a word web. I want you to think of all of the words that you can think of that mean the same as communicate. And you will draw it out from the center word. Let's take about 60 seconds and just write down every word that you can think of that means the same as communicate. All right. Now I want you to talk to your group mates, and I want you to compare your words. So one at a time, read your words to your table mates. And if they call out a word that you don't have on your paper, go ahead and write it on your paper now. All right. Now at the bottom of the center page, I would like for you to write this word. At the bottom of the center page, I would like for you to write that word. Does anyone know what this word is, how to pronounce this word?
Can I just try?
Yes. Verbose. Verbose. Dr. Martin Luther King was described in the story as being a verbose orator. Verbose. So now, based on what we read, let us create a word web for the word verbose. So on your paper, go ahead and create a word web for what you think the word verbose means. Let's take about 60 seconds. All right. So now I want you to take about another 30 seconds and talk to your table mates. And let's do another round table where you read the words. And if there's a word that you have not included in your word web, go ahead and include it now.
Communicator, lecturer, speaker, announcer.
Okay. So anytime someone communicates, we want to transmit a certain thought. The reason that we decide to use words, whether it's written or verbal, we do that to transmit a certain thought. That certain thought or that central idea is known as the what?
Main idea.
The main idea. And so as you read and you prepare for testing or as you read any type of information, what you really want to know is the main idea. Remember, as we talk about journalism, we talked about the inverted pyramid. What is the inverted pyramid?
The most important to the less important.
We take the most important information, we put it up top, and then we drill down to the least important information. That does not always work in all types of writing. When you read or when you hear someone speak, you want to figure out what is that most important information. That most important information is the main idea. So as we read through the information about Dr. Martin Luther King, what is the main idea? What is the main theme that the author is trying to get us to know? Yes, ma'am.
He was a great civil rights leader, and he taught Americans the power of nonviolent protest against widespread racial inequalities.
All right. He was a great civil rights leader. He was a great leader. So the whole reason for this writing is for us to understand the reason why he's designated as a great leader. As our final product, what I would like for us to do is to take the back of your foldable, and I would like for you from memory to rewrite the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, keeping the theme that he is a great leader. Can we do that? All right, let's take a few moments and do that, and I'll walk around to assist you.